Hello, and welcome to the Texas Department of Transportation's virtual public hearing for the State Loop 390 US 59 Marshall Relief Route Future I-369 project from 0.7 mile north of US Highway 80 to Interstate Highway 20 in Harrison County, Texas. This virtual public hearing is being held in conjunction with an in-person public hearing option. The in-person option will be held on Thursday, May 16, 2024, from 4:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Marshall Convention Center at 2501 East End Boulevard South, Marshall, Texas 75672. The open house will begin at 4:30 p.m. and the presentation will start at 6 p.m. Both hearings provide the opportunity to review project information and to provide written comments. My name is Samantha Champion, Planning Program Manager at Hicks & Company, representing TxDOT. This presentation has been pre-recorded. Thank you for your participation in this virtual public hearing. Public participation is important in the transportation planning process, and TxDOT appreciates your input on the proposed project. If you are viewing the presentation online, you may pause the presentation and navigate forward or backward using your video player. The purpose of this virtual public hearing with in-person option is to inform the public of the project status and present the proposed design, notify the public that the draft environmental assessment, or EA, is available for review, describe the proposed project so the public can determine how they may be affected, offer the public the opportunity to provide input, and develop a record of public participation. The proposed project is anticipated to be programmed with both state and federal funds. Because of this, TxDOT is required to assess potential environmental effects in accordance with federal standards. The process that is followed is called the National Environmental Policy Act process, otherwise known as NEPA. The NEPA process provides for analyses of the potential impacts to the natural and human environment and helps the decision maker to make an informed decision on a preferred alternative. On December 9, 2019, TxDOT received a signed Memorandum of Understanding from the Federal Highway Administration that permits TxDOT to assume responsibility from the Federal Highway Administration for reviewing and approving certain assigned NEPA projects. This review and approval process applies to this project. This map shows the general vicinity of the proposed project. The proposed project would extend approximately 4.9 miles, from 0.7 mile north of US 80 to I-20, and would also include improvements to approximately 3 miles of I-20 from 0.55 mile east of US 59 to FM 31 Elysian Fields Road in Harrison County. At this time, the construction cost is estimated at approximately $309 million. The project is needed due to congestion and associated travel delays along US 59 through Marshall. The purpose of the project is to alleviate congestion, thereby improving travel delays. The level of service, or LOS measure, was used to evaluate the effectiveness of US 59 to provide adequate capacity given projected traffic demands. US 59 in the Marshall area was operating at an LOS of C or better in 2012. However, by 2057, traffic is expected to increase by 113% on average over the length of US 59. As a result, portions of US 59 between I-20 and the existing State Loop 390 would operate in an LOS of E or F by 2057 if no improvements are implemented. Additionally, US 59 is a major transportation route and does not currently meet interstate highway standards due to a lack of access control, a primary interstate requirement by the American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials. This portion of State Loop 390 would be designed to meet interstate standards and eventually become part of the US 59 relief route and future I-369, part of the I-69 system through Texas. The I-69 system in Texas includes the following corridors: US 59 from Laredo to Texarkana, US 77 from the Rio Grande Valley to Victoria, US 281 from the Rio Grande Valley to George West, US 84 from US 59 to the Louisiana border, SH 550 from I-69 East to SH 48, and SH 44 from Freer to Corpus Christi. To date, more than 166 miles of the I-69 system route are designated, including I-69, I-169, and I-369. The proposed project history dates to 2008. The Texas Transportation Commission created the I-69 Advisory Committee and 5 I-69 segment committees. The I-69 Segment 1 Committee recommended US 59 relief route in Marshall. In 2014, TxDOT conducted the I-69 system I-369 Harrison County Marshall Route Study using a local working group which identified Marshall area goals and provided input and recommendations. The route study identified 13 potential interstate route options and preliminary recommendations. The working group conducted public outreach activities to present the interstate route options and preliminary recommendations to local citizens and gather feedback. The study identified a final interstate route option recommendation to be studied in detail. This project is part of that final interstate route option recommendation. After the public meeting in August 2021, TxDOT revised the proposed project design, and it was presented to the public at the last public meeting in September 2023. The proposed improvements would include the construction of a new location controlled access freeway with two 12-foot main lanes in each direction, inside and outside shoulders, grassy medians, one-way frontage roads with two 12-foot travel lanes on either side of the proposed roadway and along I-20, and on and off ramps throughout the length of the SL390 project. Bridges would be constructed over 8 Mile Creek, Parker Creek, and associated tributaries. Improvements to existing cross streets include the construction of an underpass at US 80, Bucksherrod Road, and I-20, as well as a double roundabout at FM 31 Elysian Fields Road. The improvements would also include the reconstruction of the main lanes of FM 31 Elysian Fields Road and I-20. It is anticipated that the project will be constructed in phases. Next, we will review typical sections of the proposed improvements. Shown here are illustrations of a typical section of the SL390 project. A typical section is a cross-section of what the road would look like with the proposed design modifications. At the bottom of your screen is an overview of the proposed improvements, including both the southbound and northbound main lanes and frontage roads. At the top of your screen are zoomed-in typical sections of the southbound and northbound sections of the roadway. The road would include two 12-foot main lanes in each direction. The main lanes would include 12-foot outside shoulders and 6-foot inside shoulders. The main lanes and frontage roads would be separated by grassy medians. The one-way frontage roads would include two 12-foot travel lanes on either side of the proposed roadway, along with 10-foot outside shoulders and 4-foot inside shoulders. On and off ramps would be constructed throughout the length of the project. SL390 would be constructed within a typical right-of-way width of 750 feet, depending on location. Shown here are illustrations of a typical section of the proposed construction of the main lanes along I-20. At the bottom of your screen is an overview of the proposed improvements, including both the westbound and eastbound main lanes and frontage roads. At the top of your screen are zoomed-in typical sections of the roadway, including both the westbound and eastbound sections of the roadway. The road would include two 12-foot main lanes in each direction. The main lanes would include 10-foot outside shoulders and 12-foot inside shoulders. The main lanes and frontage roads would be separated by grassy medians. The one-way frontage roads would include two 12-foot travel lanes on either side of the proposed roadway, along with 10-foot outside shoulders and 4-foot inside shoulders. A draft environmental assessment has been completed and is now available for public review. The environmental assessment can be viewed online at www.txdot.gov, keyword search SL390/US59 relief route, or in person Monday through Friday between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. at the Atlanta District Office at 701 East Main Street, Atlanta, Texas 75551. Call 903-799-1309 for an appointment. Additionally, environmental technical reports assessing potential impacts were completed for the following resource categories: community resources, including environmental justice populations, historic age resources, archaeological resources, traffic noise, biological resources, including threatened and endangered species and their habitats, water resources, including waters of the U.S. and wetlands, hazardous materials, air quality, and indirect and cumulative impacts. These technical reports can also be viewed online at www.txdot.gov, keyword search SL390/US59 relief route. The proposed project would require approximately 563 acres of new right-of-way. Potential displacements include 24 residences, 4 commercial buildings, and 2 utility locations. Early right-of-way acquisition has begun and will continue through 2026. All right-of-way acquisition would be done in accordance with the Uniform Relocation Assistance and the Real Property Acquisitions Policy Act of 1970, commonly referred to as the Uniform Act. Brochures, including 3 booklets titled The Purchase of Right-of-Way, Relocation Assistance, and the Landowner's Bill of Rights, are available for you on the public hearing webpage at www.TxDOT.gov, keyword search SL390 US 59 Relief Route, or at the web address shown on your screen. These documents contain detailed information on the process and requirements for appraisal and negotiations, as well as detailed information to inform you of your rights as a property owner. In all cases, the property owner would be reimbursed for fair market value of their property and any reasonable, incidental expenses necessarily incurred in transferring title of the acquired property to the state. We want to review the current estimated project timeline. Please note that all future dates are subject to change. The schematic development began in 2018. Previous public involvement events included an open house public meeting that was held January 2019 and 2 virtual public meetings with in-person options that were held August 2021 and September 2023. After the comment period for this public hearing ends, the project team will review the comments received, make appropriate design changes if applicable, and prepare official public hearing documentation. Public hearing documentation will be posted to the project webpage as soon as it is prepared. The next steps include finalizing the draft environmental assessment, or EA, and preliminary design and receiving an environmental decision in 2024. The construction for Phase 1 is anticipated to start in 2028, but is subject to change. This public hearing has been an opportunity for us to share the State Loop 390 US 59 Relief Route Future I-369 project with you, shown in red on this figure. There are 2 adjacent sections proposed for future development. The north section shown in green from US 59 north of Marshall to US 80, and the south section shown in blue from I-20 to US 59 south of Marshall. Although the design is yet to begin for these 2 adjacent sections, they were part of the preliminary recommended route in 2014 route study. These 2 sections would be developed in the future and, once all 3 sections are constructed, this roadway would be designated as I-369 as shown on this map. Written comments from the public regarding the proposed project are requested and may be submitted directly online to the project website. You can email comments to adrian.walton@txdot.gov. You can mail written comments to the TxDOT Atlanta District Office, Attention Adrian Walton PE, 701 East Main Street, Atlanta, Texas 75551. You can also visit the virtual public hearing webpage and submit comments directly online or access the comment form by scanning the QR code. You can also provide verbal testimony over the phone by calling 903-884-4169. Comments are welcome at any time. However, comments must be received on or before Friday, May 31st, 2024 to be included in the public hearing official record. The hearing documentation and responses to comments received will be available online at www.txdot.gov, keyword search SL390/US59 Relief Route once they have been prepared. If you have any general questions or concerns regarding the proposed project or virtual hearing with in-person option, please contact Adrian Walton PE at adrian.walton@txdot.gov or at 903-799-1309. November 7, 2000 was the last deathless day on roadways in Texas. That means for nearly 23 years, at least one person has died every single day. We all have a part to play to change that. This message is that reminder to end the streak of deaths on Texas highways. We need drivers and passengers to act more responsibly and help us reach our goal of 0 deaths by 2050. Texans can play a major role in ending fatal crashes with a few simple driving habits. Wear seatbelts, drive the speed limit, put away the phone and other distractions, and never drive under the influence of alcohol or drugs. So please do your part and share this message with your friends and family. Thank you for your participation in the State Loop 390 US 59 Relief Route Future I-369 project draft environmental assessment and virtual public hearing with in-person option. Please remember to submit your comments by Friday, May 31st, 2024.